Hello everyone, Ron Johnson here from L.T.L Tutoring Central. And if you're looking for tips and strategies to help with your learning, you are in the right place. Math fear. Well, a lot of people are truly afraid of math. Some are traumatized by it. Others are less afraid of it, but they do try to avoid it in some cases at all costs. If you're one of those people, don't feel too bad because many people are afraid of math and or just don't like it. And part of that is a fear, and part of that is the feeling that uh, you just can't do it. It's something that's unapproachable, and that's just not true. I'm going to give you a few tips on how to overcome that fear of math or that trauma of math. Mathematics is so useful in our life, particularly when it comes to our finances, but in so many other areas, math is at the core of how things work. Not only that, but you'll understand a lot of other information that we don't directly connect to mathematics, but in terms of reasoning and logic, math and having an understanding of how it works can be very useful as well. I wrote a blog this week as well. I'll put the link below, and of course you can check out the website. I'll put a link for that as well. So the first thing is jump in and try. Don't be afraid of math. That's easy to say, right? You're afraid, don't be afraid. But really, just jump in. And that's the same for any subject or anything that you're thinking about trying, but you're really nervous. The idea is just put that first foot forward, take that first step, jump in and try. Because if you don't try, you'll never know, and you have to give it an honest try. And the next few steps will help you to get in there and give math or mathematics an honest try. So don't be afraid to start. That's the main thing. Sounds a little simplistic, but a lot of people just avoid. So if you don't take that first step, you're definitely not going to understand math. Actually, just like anything, I've talked about this with writing in particular. If you don't write, if you don't practice writing, then your writing will never improve. It doesn't improve by itself. Know what you know and know what you don't know. This is very important. That comes with your finances as well. So many people don't know where they stand. So with math, you need to know what you know and what you don't know. So you could do a self-assessment, or you could have someone like me do an assessment to help you understand where the weak spots are. And that's not generally linear. To some extent it is, but it isn't really. It's spotty. It tends to be spotty. So you can be strong in some areas and weaker in others. Mathematics, it's a plural really. We say math a lot here, and in UK they say maths because there's so many sections to math, or geometry and algebra and number sense and numeration, and each one of those has many sections as well. So there's a lot of maths out there. So know what you know and know what you don't know, and that's your starting place. So don't start. If you don't really have an understanding of basic algebra or algebra 1, you shouldn't be starting with trigonometry, because you're going to frustrate yourself right off the top, and you're going to hate math again. You're going to have that fear of math. I can't do math. Well, you can't do math at that level, just like you can't pick up, if you're in the United States or Canada or an English-speaking country, you probably can't pick up a text in Mandarin and start reading it right away, a novel. You need to start where you're at, so to speak. So know what you know and know what you don't know. Start there and then challenge yourself. So if you do know a little bit about algebra, start moving it up to level 2. If you don't, then if you're starting, let's say you're looking at some fractions, as long as you understand the basic operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, you might want to get into some fractions and start at the very beginning if that's where you're at the moment, and start by simplifying fractions or changing mixed numbers into improper fractions, things like that, and then just step it up to the adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing of fractions, and keep moving forward in that way. But you do want to challenge yourself. Don't just give yourself questions you already know. That makes us feel really good because we can whip through a whole bunch of questions, and we're always right. But a little bit of that goes a long way, and then you need to step it up and you need to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are, it's said over and over, but this is really how we learn. It's not so much how we learn as if we're not making mistakes, we aren't really challenging ourselves. Again, we're just giving ourselves questions that we already know. So if you're not making mistakes, then you're not doing it right. So you need to challenge yourself enough that you're making some mistakes. Not to the point where you're completely frustrated and you want to throw the book out the window or shut off the computer and never look at math again. Uh, but to the point that you are making a few mistakes, and then you can take those mistakes and learn from them. You can kind of work backwards and figure out, okay, what went wrong? Which step did I do incorrectly? And you want to use as many resources as you can. So if you're working from a book, there should be hopefully directions and examples in the book. Don't skip over those. It sounds odd, but many people just skip over them, get right to the math, and I don't know how to do it. And right up above or on the page previous, there's a nice explanation. There's some examples with models, templates in a way that you can use to help you with these questions. But often people don't look at those, or they look briefly and sort of skip over it. I don't really understand that. I'll just get into the math. Well, if you don't understand the explanation, then you're probably going to have some difficulty with the actual questions. So take the time to slowly go through, practice a few questions using the models or the examples that they've given, and that can help you as you move forward. If that's not helpful enough, if you're still not understanding it, obviously you can check online. And there are lots of math videos that will walk you step by step through all kinds of math sections. I use some of them myself sometimes when I've forgotten something, or it's a math question a student has asked and I'm not familiar with it. And they can be really useful in helping you walk through them. Then you have to repeat. You have to repeat over and over and over. So I said, don't keep giving yourself questions that you already know. But in a sense, you do have to do that because you want to practice enough of them that it becomes sort of second nature. If you just do, 3 or 4 questions correctly and then move on and never come back to that unit or that part of that unit, then that information will probably leave you relatively quickly. And later on, you'll start having trouble again and you'll wonder why. Well, it's because those earlier sections, you didn't completely have them down, and you need to do a lot of repetition and a lot of practice to make sure that you really fully understand. And as you move forward, you can stop practicing. You probably, if you're listening to this video, I'm assuming that you know what 1 plus 1 is, and 3 plus 2, and 5 minus 2, and all those sorts of very basic math questions. You don't have to keep repeating those questions over and over because now you know them so well. So as you move forward, some of the more complex areas will become second nature too. But in the meantime, you do need a lot of repetition. If you followed through with these steps, and if you take it slowly and a step at a time, there's no reason to fear math. The one wonderful thing about math is that if you follow the steps correctly, if you plug in the information correctly, you will come up with the correct answer. Math always works if you work it properly. So you can trust it. With some other subjects, there's a lot of subjectivity, but with math, if you do it right, it will always bring you the correct answer. So that's the wonderful thing about math. So don't be afraid. I started with don't be afraid of math. Take it a step at a time. I understand that if the questions or the section is well beyond your current level, yeah, it's kind of, you can be afraid of it. I wouldn't really be afraid of it. I would just say, okay, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not there yet. And so if you want to get there, or if you need to get there, then the idea is to start, as I say, where you're at and work toward it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Check out the blog, check out the website, and some other links I'll put to some books that are available. And also, I am, of course, available for personalized lessons. My name is Ron Johnson from L.T.L. Tutoring Central. In the meantime, keep reading, keep writing, keep doing a little bit of math, and have fun learning. Bye-bye for now.